welcome to this week's show. Now this week on the show we're going to talk about snipers. Yeah, I know, that just made everybody's skin crawl over here, but hang with me for a second because I want to try to answer this once and for all. Which isn't going to work, but, you know, I got to try. Now, every time this argument comes on the internet, it breaks up into two camps. Those that say they do exist, and those that say they don't exist. And every time they go back to a show that I recorded last year where I was sitting in the woods and I said to y'all,
this is not sniping. Snipers don't exist in paintball. I'm sorry, they just don't.
But I didn't really go into it, and that's kind of my fault.
In paintball, there is no such thing as a sniper.
So, this week, we're going to go into it. And just for you guys, I broke out the Ninja Camo gear right here. Oh yeah, what all the best dressed ninjas are going to be wearing next year. Mark my words. Now I'll have you guys know that I actually did a lot of research before going into this show. Just because I didn't want to be talking out of my tail again. One thing I did find out about snipers, if you go into the dictionary, go ahead, look at dictionary.com, look up the term sniper. It means somebody who shoots from a concealed position. Don't we all kind of do that? Wouldn't that kind of qualify all of us as snipers, if you want to look at it that way? One of the main jobs of a real sniper is reconnaissance. That's what they're mostly used for because they're masters of stealth. So they send them way out in the middle of nowhere so they can report back what they see. Oh sure, the government has satellite technology, but satellite technology won't tell you how many people use a cannon a day. Another thing about real snipers is that they use range to their advantage. The munition that they use is so powerful that it actually leaves a vapor trail in its wake as they shoot it. That's how they can actually visually watch where the bullet's going. Visually watch. Of course you visually watch. You can't audibly see things. Duh. Now what this means is that they can pick somebody off at about 1,000 yards. 1,000 yards. If you're having a hard time wrapping your head around this concept, try to picture this. The entire Niagara Falls is 1,200 yards. That's from one side to the other, Canadian and American. Or something a little bit more realistic, taking the Sears Tower, laying it on its side, putting it next to the Grand Hoover Dam, and then shooting that distance. And you still have maybe 50 yards of room to play with to pick somebody up. 1,000 yards is a really long distance. And in paintball terms, that just doesn't happen. I mean, there's more to it than just stalking around and shooting people. It's not what you think it is. It ain't like the movies. Alright, so reality check. Reality is that we've already determined earlier in the season that all the paintball guns shoot about the same distance, give or take a couple of feet with your feet per second. So that being said, you're not going to get any more extra range. And keep in mind that real snipers would never get within 150 meters of their target, let alone 100 feet of their target. So it is my humble opinion that there is no such thing as a paintball sniper. That being said, there are sneaky little son-of-a-guns out there who can learn how to use stealth effect. You're not sniping, but you're doing something close to it. Just, I beg of you, please don't call it being a sniper. Now from this point on, we are going to start talking about shooting from a concealed position in the woods. Now, yeah, I know we covered this last year, and I know that it's going to kind of be repeating some of the stuff that we talked about last year, but we're going to be going a little bit more into depth. That, and if you don't like it, you can just deal, okay? When you start to find your concealed positions to shoot from, if you have the opportunity to look at them, take a few moments to look. What you're looking for optimally is soft cover that's fairly tall and fairly thick that you can see through, but they're not going to be able to see you that easily. This works to your advantage two ways. Obviously, number one, you can see them, and number two, if they're looking at some tall grass and they're thinking, oh, nobody's going to hide in there, you can catch them by surprise. Once you're in your position, you want to have an optimal firing lane. You want to have a very wide angle that you can stay in one spot and shoot at a lot of the field. The reason, again, is because you're in position. You're hidden. You want to stay in one spot. If you move, that's going to be the way they see you. Economy of motion is what you're going for here. The less that has to move, the better. One of the best places to set up, and something that I'm talking about, is like a trail, like this one right here. Because people love walking down trails, and when they're walking down trails, a lot of times they're not looking left, they're not looking right, they're looking straight forward. Use that to your advantage. Something that really should be talked about at this point is the difference between point of aim and point of impact. A paintball does not exactly have the same ballistic experience as like a bullet, say. So when you're talking about extreme range shooting, where you have the gun pointed is not necessarily where the ball is going to end up. There's a lot of things that can act as variables, like there's a little bit of wind that can knock it off. Is there a brush in the way? Is there anything else that's like that? That's what I mean by point of impact. So the only way you can really practice how to get your point of aim and your point of impact to kind of meet in the same spot is to practice long-range shooting. Yeah, it means going out in the range and arcing your paintballs so you learn exactly where they're going to land. Yeah, I know. Practice, 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 practice. That's the only way you get better. Now, I want to take a few moments here to talk about sight and sound because, well, talking about sound, a lot of people always say they want the quietest barrel or they want the quietest gun setup or they want the quietest this or that. Well, let me let you in on a secret here, and that is that if you don't fire more than 1 or 2 shots at a time, they're not going to be able to figure out where you're at. You see, we hear in stereo, right? So that's how we triangulate. We hear something over here, we look over there. So if you only fire 1 shot, they really don't have anything to triangulate on. Hey, let me show you. Okay, so maybe a quick demo's in order. I got 2 bottles set up right behind me, and I'm going to go back into the woods maybe about 60, 70 feet. I'm going to shoot 1 bottle, wait 5 or 6 seconds, and then shoot the other one. I hope. The point that I want to prove here is that if you only take 1 shot at a time, it doesn't matter what you're using, it doesn't matter what you're wearing, as long as you don't move between shots and you only fire 1 time, they're not going to be able to figure out where you're at. Fade the demo. Okay, yeah, sure, that was easy. But I just wanted to demonstrate the point, and that is that it's really hard to figure out where you are when you only fire 1 ball at a time. You know, we covered this last year, folks. Come on, let's get with the program. Now, I hope that this has pretty much solved the whole paintball sniper thing. You can be sneaky in the woods, you can wear your camouflage, you can have your realistic looking paintball gun, but you're not a sniper. Well, anyway, if you're gonna be calling yourself that and you want more information about it, I found all this great stuff on howthingswork.com, but if you want to hear the rest of it, you know, do the research yourself. Okay, so the paintball sniper does not exist, but I do know one paintball creature that does exist. Sure, ninjas!